Hello everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84, and I wanted to delve a little more into the question of this avocado that I've bought from Plants for Presents, and the question about whether or not it's a seedling grown avocado or if it is indeed a grafted avocado plant, because I've been having discussions with obviously Peter and Namala, and no doubt some other people will have bought these, and I'm not totally convinced that it's not a grafted plant, although it doesn't have the sort of normal, what I call scarred, messy grafts that avocado plants tend to have. Now, I've done a little bit of, the reason I ask this, I've done a little bit of research into the grower in Italy that has supplied these plants to Plants for Presents, and as far as I can determine, they're a specialist grower. I mean, among other things, they grow avocados. They also sell grafted mango varieties, papaya, olives, and quite a lot of citrus. Now, as far as I can see, they only sell grafted avocado plants, and they list, well, currently they're listing 4 varieties: Bacon, Fuerte, Hass and Zutano, and they appear to be only grafted plants. Now, the question I ask myself is, how could they have supplied Plants for Presents with non-grafted plants? So I decided to have a much closer look at my particular specimen I've received, just to see if there is a possibility that it has been micro grafted, because it would seem, I have been watching previously some videos about high-end scientific avocado producers who produce large quantities of avocados, and they quite often seem to graft them very low down on the stem, and there are of course different types of grafts you can use anyway. So there's 2 areas that I wish to look at on this plant, and if you see this video, Peter and Namara and anyone else who's bought off the avocados off Plants for Presents, I'd be interested to see how your plants look compared to mine. Now, the first thought I had when studying this plant, now I'm thinking these are about 3 or 4 years old. I noticed that above the root flare here, the initial part of the stem appears to be quite a bit fatter on my particular plant. It seems to be a lot broader around this section here. You can see it noticeably narrows after it gets past this section. We've got this interesting, would have been a piece of growth here, and the first question I ask myself is it possible that it has had a graft across here? Incidentally, there's no remains of the stone, but bearing in mind this trunk is now 1 inch wide, I suspect the stone would have long rotted away if there's a rootstock. But the first question I'm asking is it possible that they graft them very low down here with some kind of either angle or straight graft rather than a cleft graft? There's no real reason to assume it would have a cleft graft on it, but it does seem to be a noticeable difference between the lower trunk and this section of stem here. So I'm wondering if this has had some kind of graft, either like a straight or an angled graft on it, and that this could be a grafted section here. But obviously I've only got my plant to look at, and I'm curious to see if Peter's and the Marla's show any other similar traits. The other question is it possible, as they grow citrus as well, could they have used a bud graft here? Because this does look like a scar tissue to me around this stem, and possibly around this stem as well. Now, if they're very, very expert at doing bud grafts, bear in mind this piece of stem has been cut off here. Now, obviously, if you wanted to branch out, you'd cut the stem off there anyway, and that would hopefully cause the plant to branch out. But is it possible that it's got 2 bud grafts on here? Now, obviously what I'm thinking is, Peter and Namala, have your plants got a similar growth, about maybe 6 to 8 inches above the base, whereby you've got 1 or 2 shoots coming out of possible bud grafts? Now obviously you might have a single stem plant, because if one of these fails, they're probably still going to sell the plant because it'll branch out higher up, as you can see. Now if you look at these branches here, these clearly are natural. These are definitely natural unions here, because there's no scarring underneath, and you can see other growth buds appearing at the base and around this area here. But these ones appear to have a scar, possibly running all the way around. So I am now questioning, so it's better focus. If you look on that side here, again, it looks like this is scarred all the way around here, and I can actually see a gap in there, and the same here as well. This looks like a ribbed line. So I'm thinking, if this isn't grafted down here, then it may well be grafted up here. Now, as I said, the 4 varieties that the grower lists are Bacon, Fuerte, Hass and Zutano. Well, the leaves on this do seem to have an anise or aniseed smell to them, so I'm thinking that these might possibly be Zutano. Now they might, I mean, I don't know what the rootstocks would be. I would expect them to use Zutano as the rootstock, and it might be a little bit bizarre to graft Zutano onto Zutano, but the problem is if you use the seeds to grow a rootstock, it won't come true to type. So you could still use a Zutano rootstock and then graft Zutano scions on. As I said, the leaves have got a bit of an aniseedy smell to them, which I believe Bacon and Fuerte, excuse me, also have, because I think they do have Mexican parentage, but I'm not an expert on them. Now, Jeff, you might, if you happen to watch this video, if you happen to be watching it, you might also know the answer. Have these possibly been bud grafted, and therefore this is a grafted plant? Because I'm starting to wonder if it is. As I said, the other possibility is where the stem is much fatter here and now it then goes thinner, because that's very woody looking, and this section here is obviously still quite green. So you might want to have a very close inspection of your plants, Peter and Namala, and as I said, anyone else who's bought off plants for presents, because I'm wondering if possibly these are grafted plants, only because the nursery that grows them in Italy only seems to sell grafted avocados. They don't do any ornamental ones, so perhaps these are just nicely, very well grafted plants. Again, you can see this stem on the side here where this section has been cut off to, I'm thinking, false these buds, if these are bud grafts. I mean, it is possible to graft, to do bud grafts on avocados, and also veneer grafts, which I'm not very knowledgeable on. So perhaps we're being unfair to plants for presents, and perhaps these are indeed grafted plants. I mean, I'm happy with mine anyway, because I think it's a really good size plant for the money, bearing in mind they include free postage as well, and it's really nicely branched out. And I think the proof of the pudding will be in the next year or two, if it suddenly develops flowers. And if it does, if I can keep it alive, you have to work on the assumption that it is most likely was a grafted plant. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt on this, and we'll wait and see. I'm kind of hoping it'll be a Zutano actually, as I've got a Bacon, but a Fuerte would be fine as well. Whether or not anybody out there who's a real avocado expert can tell from the shape or appearance of the leaves, perhaps your gaze watching, they seem to have a bluish, obviously we're indoors at the moment so it's a bit deceptive, but the leaves seem to have a sort of a bluish green tint to them. But I thought it was worth doing a closer video, which I'm actually going to put out tonight, so that my friends get a chance to have a look and can offer their opinions and perhaps have a very close look at their plants. So anyway, thanks for watching, much appreciate it. I hope that we're wrong about plants of presence, and these are indeed grafted plants and nicely and very beautifully grafted, if that's the case. As I said, no sign of any flower buds on this at the moment, but and it now isn't going to happen, but because my other ones would be developing flower buds at this time of year, but of course I've come from a warm greenhouse climate, and I think they've been pinched out at various places to try and encourage all these side branches. But it's a lovely looking plant, seems to be very healthy, and I'm happy with the size of it. As I said, I could always graft onto it at a later stage, but I wonder if it's worth looking at your plants a little bit closer and just to see if you have got either scar tissue here where these lower shoots are, or if your stems are very fat right at the base and then get narrow like mine. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, much appreciate it. Please give me a thumbs up. Please comment, especially Jeff if you're watching, see your opinion. Do subscribe to my channel. So as I said, share the video with anyone you think might be able to offer their opinions or knowledge. And click on the bell if you like updates on new videos as they come out. I'll catch up with you all soon. Brett out for now.